Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door.
Boom!
Loud like a
Boom!
at a Penn's game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, we don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 728 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Good morning. Welcome back. Nice to see Finch back in action this morning. Great seeing you. Always great seeing you, my friend. How are you today?
Good to see you. Good to see both of you. Good to see our crew here. I'm looking forward to chatting and talking to the board today.
Absolutely, man. The board, they keep the world spinning. They really do. How are you doing today, Mike? I know that you're busy. You've got a lot of things going on with work, and you were waiting. You couldn't wait till Friday to get to the weekend, and here we are. You know what's funny, Finch? I love when Mike responds because he never, ever has never. Hold on. Can I just say something real quick? I don't know, probably 3 out of every 5 days we do the show. Okay, so
he just starts talking while he's on
starts talking.
Yeah,
and a lot of times he forgets to turn his mic on, which I have 5 points here, at least 5 points. I don't ever turn anything off because if I do, every single time I come back, it's going to be a problem. I'll forget every single time. So Mike, he does. I'd say 3 out of every 5 shows he'll forget to turn his microphone on. And the craziest part, Finch, the most ironic part is his name is Mike.
Yeah, right. It's literally short for microphone. Yeah.
Can you have any other, anything else that would be indicating to you that this is something that I have to remember besides your name that would be any easier to help you remember what it is that you had to do?
Well, I had it on at first. I was talking to Finch. Then I had to go run around and do some stuff. So I turned it off so you didn't hear me rooting around in the background. I got on. I ate a quick little snack of trail mix. And then we went to the show. I was like, I'm sitting here talking, then you start talking
Mike,
over me. Yeah, I'm like, oh shit, he's already starting the talking over me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fair.
10 seconds in, and he's already talking over you and overruling
I was already set, ready to go.
Well,
the best part is that Restream, the website that we use to do this. When you're muted, if you start talking, it pops up a reminder on the screen. It puts a little icon that tells you you're muted.
Well, I was on the on YouTube.
Oh, you were off the page, so you were looking at a different page.
I was putting all the
extracurricular activity. Then you're not doing your job.
I was doing all the SEO. I was doing the SEO tags so we get pushed out to the algorithm.
Just because you're the manager doesn't mean you don't have to follow the rules, there, buddy.
Exactly.
Come on,
you know what I learned at my training today is fuck the rules. Actually, it was the opposite, but my takeaway was,
hey man,
fuck the rules.
There's no bigger fuck the rule day than Good Friday.
That's right.
I mean, if you really think about what it's about,
yeah,
it's about fuck the rules.
Fuck the rules, man.
Fuck the rules, and it changed the world.
Well, it is great.
Good or bad, but it changed the world either way.
It's Friday, Mike. You know what? I love that explanation, Mike. And you know what? I really bought into it, and I really accept that. But what about the other 643 times that you forgot to turn your mic on?
Out of 730 episodes or whatever.
Yeah. Those ones were just pure general competence.
Those times. Just incompetent. Yeah, I forgot about those times.
That was incompetent. This time I was trying to be respectful and do my job.
Hey, as long as the booze. That's why
I'm sober.
We appreciate your honesty. Thank you so much, Mike. I do want to say yesterday, this isn't the first time I've seen Finch all week. I actually stopped by his place of employment. Yeah, I saw Finch, and it was wild because as I'm leaving his place of employment, I see his partner, Tim, his partner on the Two Cranky Jagoffs, and it was wild. And it was one of those weird moments, Finch, because
Tim doesn't know who you are, by the way.
Oh, I know.
He walks in, and I'm like, dude, I was like, Ryan was just here. He's like, Ryan? I'm like, yeah, Garazunas. I was like, from the Yinzers. I was like, him and Mike do the show. He goes, oh, I don't even know what the guy looks like. I'm like, you don't watch the show?
I realized this happened because as I pass him, he's walking in and I'm walking out, and
you're like, hey, dude.
Well, it was weird because I said, hey, dude, and he kind of did that weird stopping thing, like where you don't know if you're going to stop or you're going to go. And like he looked like he was ready to stop and talk for a minute, but then I kept walking because we don't really know one another.
Right. And plus you're holding like 2 bags of food, you're trying to get home, you already have plans, right?
And and then you have to think of all the things to talk about if you do stuff, because again, we don't have, him and I don't have that.
It's a Seinfeld situation, right? It's like one of those awkward things where you don't know each other, but you kind of know each other, and it's like you have to make small talk with somebody that you've never met.
That's exactly what it was.
It's exactly a Seinfeld situation. I totally get it.
And the thing is, I know who he is, obviously, from what we do.
See him here on the show.
We just never, met personally. So, that was kind of strange, and I didn't know whether to stop. And then once I didn't stop and I kept going, I thought, oh, geez, once he realizes who I am, he's going to think I'm a dick. I didn't stop and say hi. And
no, he didn't. He walked in and I mentioned, I'm like, dude, Ryan just come in. He goes, who? I'm like, Ryan from the show. I was like, dude with the big beard. He goes, oh, I saw him. He said, what's up, dude? And he said, I didn't know who it was. And I just said hi and walked past him. And I'm like, well, I said he was leaving with food. I said he was probably in a hurry or whatever. He didn't introduce himself. And it was pretty funny because how you just described it, exactly how Tim described it to me from his side, because it was literally 30 seconds that you walked out and he had walked into the stores.
Everything that I've ever known of the guy, he seems like a great guy. I'd love to meet him one day, of course.
Funny guy.
He's very funny. I always tell him, Mike, there's certain things that he says.
Oh, my God.
Certain words.
No filter, dude. He's a no filter guy, yeah.
Well, just, some of the terminology the other day, one of the things that I like that he says when he calls when he refers to his Johnson as his hog. I don't know what it is.
Why is
I
it
laugh
funny?
every single
every
time. Every time.
He'll be over there, like, off camera, like, before the show, like, just setting up, and he'll be sitting there scratching himself on the couch. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, the hog is screaming. I'm like, shut up, dude. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I was like, please leave. I can't.
There's a t-shirt designed, the hog screaming.
What?
He calls it his hog. Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy you guys. And again, there's certain things that both of you say. I mean, but that's definitely one of the things that he says. When he says hog, I laugh.
He says just outlandish shit, and then I just call him out on it. And that's the whole show. And it's a blast because we just roast each other, and then it's a good time.
Yeah, no, you can tell you guys are having a blast. Everything sounds great. Yeah. And when he talks about the hog, it's always so nonchalant and just within what it is that he's saying. He doesn't make a point to make hog funny.
Yeah. Right.
It's just hog.
It's like just how he describes his junk. Just like you might say, oh, my dong or my dingling or my Johnson. He's like, yeah, it's my hog.
My hog.
Like, he picks the fucking ugliest, stupidest animal to pick to represent his junk. But it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Good morning to Tortilla Jackson. What's up, brother? How you doing today, man?
Tortilla? How do we know that Tortilla is a man, by the way? Tortilla sounds like a lady's name.
Well, you know what? I started saying a man. No, I hear you. I wonder sometimes too on people on the board, and you kind of figure it out. But I just figure if I call somebody dude or man or bro,
they'll call you out on it.
Yeah, they're like, dude, I'm a chick,
Or she's just so cool that she doesn't care.
Right.
She's just like, I like this Ryan guy. I'm
just
gonna go with it.
Yeah, the overabundance of estrogen that we have that follows our show. Believe me, Finch, it isn't.
Most of it's sitting right here, actually. There's a lot of
it. Down there and over there.
I have an overabundance of estrogen. I can't help it. I'm a feminine man. But that's all right. Just because I have beautiful boobs doesn't mean I can't, be manly when the time is.
I'm Batman.
I am Batman.
He's Batman. Where's Derpy? Where's Superman at? We had the
we got the Justice League form over here.
Justice League. Boom. Guys, let's get into it. It is Friday. It's Good Friday. It's the weekend of Easter. It's the weekend of 420. Everybody, it's a little bit something for everybody. The kids, the adults. It's a good weekend, everybody. Glad to be here. I know Mike's glad to be here. You've been busy. Getting to the weekend is saying that you're excited is an understatement.
I'm pumped up. I cannot sit still over here.
I see that.
Like, my lighting looks decent for.
By the way, Mike, I wanted to mention that you got the light set up here in the last week or two, and I've been watching the show almost every day, and you look fantastic, my friend.
Thank you.
You always look nice, but I usually give you a hard time about the lighting. I usually say something to you. I mean, one day you had this light only on one side, and you literally looked like a half moon.
See, I like the half moon. What I see,
it was a good look. I wanted to howl at him.
I think the problem with this, what he has going on now, and I wish you would. I wish you just randomly howl at Mike every once in a while. But I think the light coloring, it makes Mike look so little.
You do look small. It's like you're far away from the camera almost.
I used the example of like he looks like he's sitting at the children's table at Thanksgiving. He's just kind of sitting back, a little smaller than everybody else on the screen, and it just
he's got the plastic plate and the plastic silverware.
Yes, and
he's got little tiny portions of food.
And everything's kind of awry in the background, like where the kids' room would be. You see alphabet letters on the background.
He looks like a hobbit. He's like a hobbit, a big bald hobbit.
Something like he does look like a big bald hobbit
in like a man's house, like a normal sized man. Yeah, he's like Willow.
I'll work on it, guys. God damn it, Mark Malone.
Over enthusiastic intern Caleb, good morning to you, my friend. He says, "Can I have Derpy sandwich gift card for Easter?" You know what? You could sure play for it.
It's been like 6 months. When's he going to claim that?
I know. And also, good morning to Mark Malone as well. He says Mike is pumped for Hitler's birthday. That's right. Today is Hitler's birthday, and also what is the 26th?
No, Sunday is his birthday.
420.
20th, yeah.
420.
Sunday.
So
419 isn't 419 the 26-year anniversary of Columbine? Wasn't that?
No,
one
that
day?
Also was on 420.
Are you
that
sure?
What
was on 419? There was something on 419. Remember? I don't know.
No, yeah, Columbine especially was 420. I know for a fact because I was in 9th grade when that
I was
happened,
going to say,
that was a big effing deal when I was in high school. So I do know for a fact that and Hitler's birthday are on 420.
Wow. I remember something being on the 19th, and it like screwed me up because I thought, why is this the 19th?
It's probably like a random birthday that you remember.
You know what I think it is? You know what I think? I really think it is, actually.
That happens to me too. Like I'll look at the calendar. I'm like, today's, June 3rd. It's like, June 3rd. What the hell is June 3rd?
Right.
You check your appointments. You're like, no. And then you turn on Facebook at 11 o'clock at night and you find out it's your cousin's birthday.
Right.
For some reason, your brain remembers that, but you can't remember what you ate for breakfast.
We have the beginning of the Revolutionary War, battles of Lexington and Concord. We got the Oklahoma City bombing. We got the
April 19th was the Oklahoma City,
That's
1995. I think
Waco.
That is what
you're
right.
Thinking.
That was a big one.
Waco, Texas, the Branch Davidians. We got
was that the
19th
as well?
Yeah, and
no
the
way.
This is why I'm thinking 19.
Yeah, so it's actually it literally is a historical day in America. Yeah, that's wild. A lot of major events of our lifetime happened on that day.
The worst tragedies ever.
Yeah. Oklahoma City was a bad one. Like that's one that people don't remember quite as well, but I remember when that happened, and that was we watched it on TV, and they showed that building all blown up and shit. It was bad, like 168 people or something like that.
And all those kids, there was a bunch of kids.
It was a bad situation. Yeah, fuck Timothy McVeigh. Fuck that guy.
And there's still a random body part that cannot be identified to a person, so they assume someone was murdered and left in a trunk.
Really?
Yeah, interesting fact about that, by the way.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
007, good morning to you, my friend. He says his blow-up doll in the background, of course, right there behind Mike.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Oh my gosh.
There's
Mike, my pretty doll.
There's a big hole cut out in the mouth there, dude.
All right.
I am just saying.
Also, Tortilla says, isn't Easter on Sunday? It is. Caleb says, smoke weed on the show, celebrate 420. I got to be honest. If the show wasn't, if it wasn't the 20th, Sunday, I would definitely smoke weed on the show.
We can still do a show. Let's do a show.
You want to do a show and just smoke weed the whole time?
Not really, but
we can.
We can.
Fuck the show. Let's just get together and smoke a bunch of weed on Sunday.
Yeah,
we don't need the cameras.
If it wasn't on the 20th, I mean, we could pull something off like that, obviously. But Mark Maloney says that's why Hitler shaved that weird stash. He was always burning these sides from smoking the roaches.
Hitler was a methamphetamine addict.
Yeah. I know that his soldiers were, right?
They all were. Yeah. They all were. Yeah. And Hitler especially. There's a very classic video of him. You've probably seen it, where he was at the Olympics in 1936, and they show him like in like the presidential press box because it was in Berlin. Yeah. And he's just sitting there tweaking. I mean, like this, shaking, and that's what it was. He was
it in Berlin?
Out. In Berlin.
Berlin.
I will never go back to Berlin.
Do you see that chick? The chick that died.
Yeah, Michelle Trachtenberg.
The reason yesterday they said it was diabetes.
She had a. I guess she had been. I I don't follow her or anything on Instagram, but she had been posting for months that she's been dealing with this health issue around the diabetes and like I guess her kidneys and pancreas. She was failing anyway. It wasn't everybody assumed like drugs or something.
Right,
This poor girl who was like younger than me. It's a shame. I watched a couple of things when I was a kid that she was in that I really liked. Like she was in this show called Adventures of Pete and Pete. I loved that show as a kid. And then she was in the movie Euro Trip, as we were saying.
Yes.
That's like an absolute classic. And it's a fantastic comedy. One of the last really good raunchy comedies. And my wife and I actually love that movie. We used to watch it all the time when we were like, brand new together.
Right.
And it kind of bummed us out. We found out she died because she was a good actress. She was beautiful, and it's a real shame.
Yeah, no, I dug her. I liked her, as you said, in Euro Trip. I mean, that was one of my favorite movies. And
what a great movie, man.
Yeah. And every character was great. Cooper,
fantastic.
And the twins,
her and her brother were the worst twins ever.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact: you made out with your sister.
You made out with your sister.
Scotty.
This is not where I parked my car.
This is not where I parked my car.
Scotty doesn't know. One of the greatest film songs made for the film of all time. Like that song is excellent. It's funny. It rocks. You could dance to it. Matt Damon plays the part of the singer in the movie.
Right?
It's like one of the silliest cameos of all time. Like, dude, Euro Trip's a great movie. We should watch that movie and stream it right here.
Yeah, we really should. And
we
just
should
talk
with
about
the
it the whole
crowd.
time.
And we'll just talk and just make fun of them.
Fuck yeah, I get ripped while doing it.
That'd be fantastic. Good morning to
Everything comes
Jen
back
on
to
the
drugs
board.
and alcohol with you, Mike. I think you have a problem.
Yeah, I don't have enough.
Oh, that is a problem.
Yeah.
Tortilla Jackson says everybody has something to celebrate this week, and it's true. It's true. I can't believe it's already been over a month, guys, since Steak and BJ Day. We were just talking about that, Finch, and
that might have been the last time I was on the show. Actually,
it's been a while. Yeah,
you've been
it's been like a month since I've been on the show. So.
Got to work. Your jaw has to heal.
Tortilla also says this Sunday, Christians versus Nazis versus Stoners. Tickets are selling out fast. Get yours now, right here.
When it's all said and done, the Stoners will win that fight.
Christians, Stoners, Nazis. Yeah, and the Nazis are crazy, right?
Yeah, but there ain't enough of them. There's way more Stoners than Nazis.
Yeah, but they don't want to fight. Stoners don't want to fight nobody.
Nah, Stoners don't like Nazis.
Yeah, but they don't want to fight either, though. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I don't know who I'd take. I'd probably take the Nazis.
They do have better weapons.
They just seem like they would be more. It seems like they would be more successful in this battle, but who knows? Caleb says, and on 4/21, Rodgers signs with the Steelers.
I hate you for even saying that.
We'll get into that in just a second. Mark Malone says, my aunt and my uncle felt it in their house in Edmond.
Holy shit! The blast.
What did they feel?
The blast.
Oh, from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oh my.
That's insane. That's wild. It's hard to believe that a truck full of fertilizer can like cause that much destruction. You know what I mean? Like,
boom.
And then of course you see a couple years ago there was that explosion that happened at a dock in what was it, like Beirut?
Yeah.
That giant explosion, and that was the same thing. It was fertilizer. It wasn't a planted bomb, but it was fertilizer that had been sitting on a barge that just freaking blew up. Same concept that blew up the Oklahoma City building. It's wild that cow poop can do that.
Yeah, it really is, man.
It is. Chemistry is crazy.
Yes, it is.
Chemistry.
Good morning to P on the board. P says the Stoners they'll be heavily outnumbered. Tortilla says Christians and Nazis might team up to beat up the Stoners.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Modern Christianity, maybe, I guess.
And Mark Malone says the OKC bomb. But there you go, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. This is the Friday installment of the Two Dumb Yingers, a.k.a. episode 728. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Finch, it is the eve of WrestleMania. Also, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they wrap up their season last night with the win. It was good because we were playing all Washington teams. The Pirates had a 4-game series against the Nationals. The Penguins wrapped up the season against the Capitals.
With a win.
With the win, the Pirates win the series 3-1.
All right.
The Penguins beat the Capitals 5-2. We'll talk all about all that stuff later on. So all the news in Pittsburgh is good this week. A little bit of a late. We were just getting ready to wrap up yesterday, and we got word that Aaron Rodgers was on TV. Some speculated that he might give some kind of hint, maybe even tell you what he was going to do next season. We'll talk about that here shortly. And also, Finch, going into the weekend, we have UFL action. There will be football today, football tomorrow, and football Sunday. And the Pittsburgh Riverhounds also have a match this weekend. So we'll be getting into all that, guys. Stick around, relax. 007 says Rodgers on McAfee yesterday did not sound like he's coming to Pittsburgh. I kind of got that hint too, guys. I don't know if you guys seen the interview, if you guys caught the segment. I didn't catch it in its entirety. What I didn't see, I tried to catch in literature and read a little bit about it. And from what I got from the conversation, Mike, why don't you give me a little bit of what you got from the conversation? I haven't heard much from you. As long as your mic is working, we might as well go to you, right?
Unmute. Okay. Good.
I've had my microphone muted all day in a work call, so it's just force of habit. But no, what I got, like I replied to 007, he sounded defeated. Like he sounds like he's done. And like he said in the interview, he did say, I don't feel like I owe anyone a decision, a prompt decision along those lines. No deadline has been given, but he said, I've also been open and honest. I've been constantly communicating. And he only said this to the Steelers about the Steelers. He said, I've been in constant communication with the Steelers, with Mike Tomlin about everything that's going on. And you pair that with what the Steelers have said, hey, we're comfortable with Mason Rudolph and what they're doing with the quarterback room. If they get Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers sound like they're fine with it. If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, it sounds like they're fine with that, moving on with Mason and Rudolph and either a rookie in the first round or someone like Will Howard, Shuck in the latter rounds and going into the future that way and getting a guy next year. So for me, going into it, it just sounded like, he's not going to play this year, probably going to retire. But if he does play, it sounds to be like it would be for the Steelers, just because the way and how in-depth he talked about with them, of how he has, gained more respect for Mike Tomlin with their meeting. He, got along well with Arthur Smith in the meeting. He knows the quarterback coach. They played together in Green Bay. They both worked under Mike McCarthy. It sounded like he had a really good vibe in Pittsburgh, but he also said he has something happening off the field that he doesn't know if he can be 100% committed to football. So there's a lot going on there, but to me, it sounds like he's either going to retire or be a Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers know what's going on off the field and his mindset. And you look at the moves the Steelers have been making in the offseason and the way they're approaching the draft, it sounds like the Steelers know what's going on and they're going to do their own thing.
I mean, that's kind of what I got from him. As he says, he doesn't owe anybody but
yes, he does.
He does.
100% he does. 100%. If he's going to hold teams to this, dude, there's a draft coming up next week. Teams need to make their decisions about their quarterback situation, and he's stringing them along. If he's not going to do it, just say no, Aaron. Just tell him no. Just end it. Why are we playing this cat and mouse game? Is he going to? Isn't he going to? It's like a big soap opera. And this is just Brett Favre all over again. Everybody's made that comparison with him and Favre for years now. Mm-hmm. Just go to the fucking Vikings or just retire. Do one of two things. Go to Mississippi, rob a bunch of people of their money. Just do all that Brett Favre shit. Just don't do it in Pittsburgh, dude. I would not hate him here.
Right now.
I do think that the man still has some ability left. I think after his big injury, he had a year to finally come back and he started to put it together at the end of the season. I wouldn't hate the idea of Aaron being here for a season or two to play that sort of fatherly role that Brett played to him, as we had discussed here before, to whomever we draft next year. However, he totally owes teams an explanation. If somebody's gonna offer him $10 or $20 million, he needs to make a fucking choice, and he needs to do it before the draft. It's that simple. He definitely owes these teams something.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a no.
He's in the game. He's in the business. You have to be, somewhat accountable. Let's just say that whatever's going on in his personal life is so terrible, it must be worse than every other single person that has to have make a decision.
That. I 100%
listen,
believe
that's what I'm saying. Isn't there, 80 million people in the workworce that, even if you have the worst day and have personal issues in your personal circle, you still have to owe your boss or your company an explanation. That's just a common decency kind of thing, in my opinion. It's courteous. And my solution was this last week. I say, screw Aaron Rodgers. Let him come back to us and say that he wants to come here. At that point, I say, you know what? We've already moved on. We made our decision. You gave us that option. You said, I'm not stopping anybody from making their decision. You could go on without me making, giving you this information. Everybody could do what they want to do. I'm not holding anybody hostage. So I say, wait it out. If he decides to come back to us, tell him piss off, send him into retirement early, and say, this is for Super Bowl 30 or 45. Enjoy retirement, fucker.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, 100%. And just one other thing I'd like to add to that is, dude, Aaron Rodgers is great. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Tom Brady.
No.
I think Tom Brady is the only one who has played in the last 10 years who can get away with this shit. Maybe Aaron could have got away with this 5 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if he'd have left Green Bay 5-6 years ago and then this stuff went down, maybe he would get away with this sort of behavior. But now, dude, he's old. He's nearly over the hill. Like I said, I think he might still have a year left in him. But, I don't care. There's nothing that he can do or say that allows him to extend this situation any further. You know what I mean? Like, exactly what you just said. If I just don't show up for work and I call my boss an hour before I'm supposed to be there and I say, hey, this is going on, that's going on, this is going on. Sure, he'll understand, but I'm going to face some sort of disciplinary action.
And
maybe not a write-up or anything.
Real quick here, Finch.
Yeah, please.
Mark Malone, he says he doesn't have a boss, though, but he does. The NFL's your boss.
He is beholden to these GMs. If he's going to string them along, he has to have at least enough courtesy to give them a fucking answer.
Don't the 32 teams, the 32 franchises, they're all under the umbrella of the NFL. They're 32 franchises as Subways and every other business. It's a business.
Sure.
And his boss is the NFL, and his potential bosses or the Steelers or the Vikings. And again, Finch, is there any job else in the world besides for, some people might say that these people are what's the word I'm looking for?
Divas. Yeah.
Any other job in the world, your boss can tell you to piss off.
Yep.
I mean, you got to give me the information because I have to find somebody to fill your spot. And I understand all the rhetoric, and they have to say it for PR. Pittsburgh, I mean, they're saying all the right things. Well, we're not really. Right. We're going to be fine. We have all the faith in the world in this guy. I mean, it's all the same BS that they give you every year when we're looking for information. But I got to be honest with you. Last night on NFL Network, about 4:00 in the morning, they were replaying the Steelers-Seahawks game from 2023. That was in that last 3 games, and that Mason Rudolph had to win to get into the playoffs. If he came out and played like he did against Seattle in that game I was watching, I would have no problem with this guy being our starting quarterback next year. I wouldn't. I'm watching the game, and he steps up to the line, takes control with confidence. Like I said, there's all those attributes that go into being a good quarterback. And during that one particular game, as I said, just one isolated game that I seen this morning at 4, he looked really good. All those things, check. I don't remember exactly what Seattle's defense was like that particular year, but from what I seen that game this morning, I would be comfortable with Mason Rudolph stepping under center. Again, I don't know if that's what we're getting back. I don't know if his psyche is messed up from moving around. Maybe he's even in a better place.
He probably is in a better place.
So as I said,
probably is.
If there was any season, Finch, to pull the trigger on Mason Rudolph, I think it would be this season right here, without a doubt. Mike and I agreed on that yesterday.
Yep.
And I don't think that this would be it right here.
3 or 4 weeks ago, I might have said different from that, but now the fact that Aaron hasn't worked out for us, we're still not sure what's going on with him. Mason is our best chance at this particular moment in time, unless we make some sort of wild deal to pick somebody from a different team, or Aaron comes to his senses and takes like a decently cheap deal for us that benefits us. That would be great and everything, but as it stands right now at this moment, Mason's our guy, and I am not 100% against it. It's better than Duck Hodges.
Oh, absolutely.
It's probably better than Kenny Pickett. As much as I like Kenny as a person and him being a local guy, I like Kenny Pickett, Pitt guy. I wish him the best. I'm glad he won a ring in Philly, but he's just not a great quarterback. And Mason's not a great quarterback either, but Mason can be a guy who can go in there and fill a role. And if we build around him in the draft this year and get somebody to protect him, or perhaps a running back late in the draft that can help provide some extra protection or an extra set of hands to run the ball, Mason has a shot to be a pretty decent quarterback for this particular team. It's just a matter of playing to his strengths and understanding that he isn't Aaron Rodgers, that he isn't Tom Brady, but he also isn't Duck Hodges.
All right, let's get to some of these messages on the board, guys. Let's see. Let's start right here. Mark Malone says, yeah, dude said he's been up. Okay, we got that. Okay. He's been up front with the team. Said he had some friend and family stuff that he's going through. Keller Haas says, got to get Yins on the Wombo combo at some
Love
point.
Wombo combo, by the way. Great show. I've been watching.
Absolutely.
Good job, guys.
And also, I'll get in touch with you, Keller Haas. We'll talk.
That'd be awesome.
I got some ideas. Actually, Mark Malone says, I never heard him speak. The guy seems like he's a no BS kind of guy. Tortilla Jackson says, I agree. I'm still optimistic he signs, but the main thing I took away is that the Steelers are comfortable with or without him. It was nice to hear him talk about Pittsburgh.
I agree.
But isn't that the same thing that every single player says when they come to Pittsburgh first? Oh, Coach Tomlin is so great. I just love the coach. I loved it. And then when their time of their contract's up, they're leaving Pittsburgh, and they don't have the grades for the kids center's bad. The family gets treated terrible. They make us eat cockroaches, and whatever these people were saying, like Najee Harris when he leaves. I thought that I thought we treated Najee Harris well. He played good. I thought that everything went well with Najee, and then he leaves, and obviously the report card that we get every year says a bunch of bad things. But when they come, don't they always say it's such a great thing? Coming to Pittsburgh is great. I love Coach Tomlin. I could play for Coach Tomlin. But then I don't know what changes when they do come here. That always seems to change. I don't know what it is. Mark Malone says maybe he has some family that is getting new chemo treatments that might work or they die. If it looks like it won't work, he wants to. I mean, that's a big if. I don't know what his personal issues are, but I guess that if you think worst case scenario, I hope that's not it. Obviously, never know. He does say. But his, you're right. He's not employed per se, but I think
he is
boss,
beholden.
He's
beholden to these
by the
people.
NFL, and
he needs to make a decision.
He needs to be right. He needs right. Mark also says, I don't care if he comes here or not, but I got to read on the dude, and he seems all right to me. He's not employed. He's unemployed as we speak. Rudy will kick ass if he plays this year. Mark Malone is still saying that Rudy will get 4,200 yards, finishing 35 touchdowns. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Of course. That would be amazing.
What if he come here and just lit up these number one and number two receivers? He comes in, has
Marino-esque numbers on his first year back, right?
He just lights up the tight ends.
1,200 yards to George Pickens and 1,300 yards to Metcalf and just all these guys. Yeah, these are pipe dreams. These are wonderful things to think about, and it would be awesome if Rudy came in here. It would have been awesome if Kenny Pickett would have done that a couple years ago. It would have been great if Russell Wilson would have done that last year. It's all pipe dreams. However, I appreciate the positivity, and I do once again feel that Rudy is not our worst option.
Let me ask you this: if Mason Rudolph blows for this season, let's say the Steelers go 13-4.
Sure.
And then they go to the playoffs and they end up in the AFC Championship game and they lose. What do you do with the quarterback?
So it would be pandemonium, not just because of the quarterback, but because we in Pittsburgh expect to win the Super Bowl every single year. We've been bitching about not winning a playoff game for the last 8 or 9 years, right? And then suddenly we win 1 or 2 and go to the title game and lose. Everybody in Pittsburgh is going to be down on the Steelers. They're going to say, oh, they blew it again. This is typical Tomlin. They had a big game. They had a chance. They had a game at home, and they blew it. Same Steelers story for the last 30 years.
But let me ask you this.
That's how
do the fans change their tune and might say to themselves, when we're talking about what people do we want to keep Mason around now? The guy got us to the AFC Championship game. Yep. Almost like a Sam Darnold in a sense. What do you do?
Depends on the game.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Exactly right.
Again, he gets 13 wins. 13 wins out of 17 games, gets to the AFC Championship game, and we lose by a crap play. We lose by 2 points on a shit play at the end of the game. Are we still passionate about going out and grabbing a quarterback that we feel that we need to get it done? I mean, again, this is total speculation and probably never going to happen. But do you think that Mason Rudolph, all of a sudden, we're like, throw Mason the money? Or is it a freak season? Mason Rudolph got us to the AFC Championship after not being able to win a playoff game for 8 years. Yeah, what do you think?
A few factors go into that, right? So the big one is, how does Mason do. Like, you can go out and win 13 games, but only throw for 1,500 yards. I mean, isn't that what Ben did on his rookie year? Is like he barely threw the ball, but he won all those games. I'm not saying Mason is Ben Roethlisberger, but I am saying that it's a dependent situation on how he personally performs. Now, if he goes out there and he throws 30 touchdowns and 4,500 yards for the season, it is really hard to deny that if we get that far into the playoffs, right? But you also have to keep in mind one other thing. Next year's draft is in Pittsburgh, and it's a quarterback-heavy draft. More than likely, right? That's what it's looking like. If Mason goes out there and has a less than stellar season, let's say he has a good season and he wins a bunch of games, but he's not playing 100%. Like I said, he's not throwing for 30 touchdowns or whatever. Maybe he's having a mediocre stat season. Then you start thinking like, well, yeah, he was good. It'd be great to keep him on the roster and have him around because he's capable of winning games. But we also got this pick in the draft, and there's a very good chance that this, and this guy will be available for us. Yeah, there is like that. You have to kind of weigh the options, right? It's very dependent on the exact performance of Rudy and what's available in the draft.
Mike, what do you think? What's your take on all this?
If, who's to say, Rudy can't have this breakout year? Because you look at Geno Smith. He did nothing for years. And then all of a sudden had a breakout in 2022. He broke out. Who's to say Mason Rudolph can't have that type of success? Yeah, Geno was a first round. We got Mason in a third, but as Kevin Colbert famously said, we had a first round grade on Mason Rudolph. He was buried behind Ben. We didn't want to give him a chance, blah, blah, blah. If he has that turnaround and can have like a latter day Geno Smith type resurgence of a career, that's cool because we have him under contract this year. And I think, like they said in the comments, next year as well. So you don't have to sign him to that big contract. And even if you do, that does not prohibit you from drafting another quarterback. You can give him a little 3-year extension, but draft a quarterback too. And work Rudy's contract where the money's front loaded. So you can, let him go after a year or two if he's bad. And then you have your heir apparent right there. And that would be the way to do it. And that's how I would do it. That's how I do it regardless of how Rudy plays. You definitely want to draft someone next year if you're in the position to draft one of those guys. And if he does have this great success, don't be afraid to package a bunch of picks and move up into the top 10, into the top 5 if someone's willing to move to get your guy next year. Even if Rudy has a good year, go ahead and do that. Have him ready. That's what that's what Kansas City did when they got Mahomes. They were down in the 20s, traded all the way up to get him. So, like I always say, don't be afraid to get your guy and ride it out with Mason this year. Draft a guy this year in the later or in the mid to late rounds to be a developmental guy. At worst case scenario, you might get your backup quarterback for the future, which we know is important because quarterbacks go down all the time for a game or two here or there. Then you can have Mason, and then next year you can hopefully get your franchise quarterback.
I like it. Let's get back to some of these messages, guys. On the board, we do have Tortilla Jackson says, I'm still drafting a quarterback next year at some point, but if Rudy leads us to the AFC Championship, his pole position is the pole position starter while we let whoever draft take a full year learning. Mark Malone says, I draft a quarterback this year and next if the dude looks like a bum. Tortilla goes on to say, Rudy would ask for more money, but we have him for next year too. So send him in as quarterback 1 next year. And if he matches it again, and then have the conversation about playing him. Mark Malone, all he needs is what's that?
You said playing, but he said Tortilla said paying him. So
paying
different,
him.
Yeah, different there. Yeah,
I wasn't trying to correct you. No, you're good. I'm on my smaller board. Let me look on the bigger board where I can actually see a little bit more. Mark Malone says I draft a quarterback this year and next if the dude looks like a bum. And then also he goes, Tortilla goes on to say, oh, where are we at? Okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. Paying Mark Malone, all he needs is some modicum of a run game.
I like that word, modicum.
DK and GP will eat if we do. Tortilla says hot take, if Mason Rudolph is the starter, he has a better year than JJ McCarthy. I would think so. I mean, the
board is smarter than us, by the way.
They really are.
They should be doing this. They should have the mics.
And the thing about that, that's interesting because he JJ McCarthy has mad weapons, like mad weapons. Don't get me wrong, I understand GP and DK is pretty big thing too, But for the team that Minnesota has, and the team that just won 15 games last season, and they have an offensive line, and they have some big time wide receivers. It's hard to think that JJ is not going to have a good year. It's almost going to be the Brock Purdy situation, in my opinion. You just got a really good team around him, and it's by default it's going to go well. But you know what? I could see again with these weapons. If you keep Mason Rudolph off his back, in the backfield, and give him a little time to throw the ball, which is a big if as well. With this new, with DK Metcalf and George Pickens maybe finally getting that opportunity to play his full potential, and these tight ends, and then Calvin Austin, maybe Mason Rudolph might be able to have a good year. And again, you know what? And you kind of put it this way. All right, let's give this guy a try. If it doesn't work, you have a bad season, maybe get a higher draft pick in Pittsburgh, have that work to your advantage. But you know how it's going to go. He's going to play just well enough to get us right around 20.
Yep. I was just going to say, 10-win season. Yeah,
every year. It's like clockwork.
The thing is, though, like that's okay because we can package the first round pick. We will have potentially 2 third-rounders, 2 fourth-round picks. You can use those to move up to get your guy. Teams that don't need a quarterback would be willing to look down. So they're loading up for the ammunition, thinking they're going to probably finish in this range again to be able to make that move up into the top 10, into the top 5 to get their guy.
I'm going to actually go back for 1 second. I want to read Tortilla's text that I did screw up. He said, Rudy would ask for the money, but we have him for next year too. So I'd send him in as quarterback 1 next year. And if he matches it again, then have the conversation about paying him. Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Great comment, Tortilla. Yeah. I agree. And that's the way to go right now at this moment. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
And even if he does have that great year, back-to-back great years, and you have a young quarterback on your bench, that's good because, hey, you can, if Mason starts to suck, boom, we got the heir apparent ready to go. Or, hey, we're missing a piece to the puzzle on this team. This team over here needs a quarterback. We can flip that young prospect
assets
for other assets, either players, draft capital, stuff like that.
Case of beer, bag of balls.
I don't know about the bag of balls, but I'll take.
He might not be quite worth a bag of balls. Real quick, I just want to say something about Mason. One thing that I was thinking about as I was reading the comments, as Ryan was reading. One thing I've always liked about Mason, he seems like he's mentally stable.
Right.
That sounds silly, but you see some of these guys, like you see interviews with like Lamar Jackson or whatever, or like Cam Newton. He's completely mentally nuts. Right. Great quarterback. He had some great seasons. Mason has this like quiet calm to him that I've always appreciated. The dude took a helmet to the face and didn't say a bad word about it after it happened. Now, there's a lot of speculation. Did he use some foul language and say some bad words to lead to that? Who knows? But, the guy has a maturity to him. And you see it when he plays. Like, he does have some patience. You mentioned that game in Seattle from a couple of years ago where he looked great. He has the capability. And I like that he's mentally stable. That's one thing that I don't like about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a brilliant man, very smart guy. I've seen him play Jeopardy. He's been on there. He's very smart, but he's a little off. He's a little unstable, and he brings that baggage with him. I don't see that from Mason. Now, Mason hasn't had the success that Aaron has, so he hasn't had that, that success kind of twists your brain. Yeah. That happens to a lot of people. They get money or fame or success, and it messes with them mentally. Maybe AB might be a great example of this, Antonio Brown. However, I like Mason that he seems like a grounded guy. He seems like he's a reasonably intelligent guy. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who says and does rash things off of the field, and that's beneficial to the team. I used to say on this show during this past season, Russell Wilson was great for the team because he had this amazing attitude. And he said all the right things, and he was he did all these beautiful charitable things. You've seen him in hospitals with kids. Mason Rudolph, I think, is that kind of guy as well.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, please.
The other thing that Mason has, and it follows your point, is the team likes him. That you hear all the players say, "Yes, we are comfortable with Mason. We will do what Mason wants us to do. They will follow Mason Rudolph." And you saw it in that Seattle game, in the Bengals game, and I forget who else would have beat down the stretch. In those games, man, Everyone rose to the occasion. Now, whether was it the situation or when Mason came in there, but they seemed to rally to him. You see George Pickens had that smile, had that glimmer in his eye when, oh, this guy's going to throw me the ball deep. This guy's going to hit me in stride across the middle, the way Trubisky wouldn't, the way Kenny was inconsistent with. Like, that goes a long way, trusting your quarterback to put you in a good position.
And that's something that works at every job, right? We've all had a boss that was just the best boss, right? We've all had a guy or girl who would treat us right and be fair, and they understood when you had an issue. They would help you if you had a problem. And then we've all had that one boss who is just a fucking asshole, who doesn't want to help you. They just want the job done, but they don't want to do the work. That's how I'm kind of feeling with these two guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have this Mason who, as you're saying, is sort of a quiet leader. People respect him. People like him. They play pretty well. They play coherently together. They might not be the best, most talented guys together when we get down to it in the past, but they're coherent. Like you said, George smiles when he plays with Mason.
Yeah.
Does that happen with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Does Aaron bring that attitude?
Yeah.
Because when you're the quarterback and you're a guy with the pedigree of Aaron Rodgers, you're going to come off as the boss of the team.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. You're going to be the team captain. People are going to look up to you for answers and support. And if you're not going to be that guy who can be there for his team, both on and off the field, then I don't really want him here then. And if Mason has that effect, then that's a good thing.
There was some speculation. We also talked a little bit about earlier in the week. Mike and I was talking about, maybe Aaron Rodgers just doesn't want to participate in minicamp. Maybe he doesn't want to participate in OTAs.
I will 100% agree with that. I think
I think that's a problem because, you might say, well, he's a veteran, let him do his thing. But again, there's other people that, you need to be cohesive. You can't just say, give me $10 million. I'll come to your city and play for you. You need to learn your quarterback. You got to get to know the guy. You got to get, if you're not there.
Quick counterpoint.
There are, hold on. But, if you're not there, you at some point have to, again, learn cohesiveness on your offense. When you step out on the field on Sunday, you have to have had enough reps to be able to go out and do it flawlessly.
Build relationships.
To be able to, absolutely. So, if people that say, okay, you don't have to show up at camp. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to come and do fine. That's fine for him, but that's not fine for anybody else. Again, everybody else has to get used to playing with him, working with him, understanding his leadership skills. And it's, again, everything that's coming with him. Okay, he comes off yesterday. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. He comes out and says, I'm not stringing anybody along. He comes out and says, I'm not holding anybody hostage. He comes out and says, Mike Tomlin's a great guy. I really liked it there. Pittsburgh's great. But at the end of the day, is he going to show up? Is he going to be at camp? Is he going to be at minicamp? Is he going to be at OTAs? Is he going to be at everything that you need him to be at? Meetings with the coaches, meetings with the coordinators, other players on the team, the guys that he has to throw the ball to, guys that he has to have blocking for him. It's a whole thing. It's not throw me $10 million. I'll play there this season. You can have me. You can have Aaron Rodgers. I don't buy that. I'd much sooner say kick the guy to the curb, send him to retirement. And again, if any year's the year to start Mason, start him this year. Go after a quarterback. Maybe go after Jackson Dart at number 20 if you can get him. And then next year, if you're thinking he's not working, you know what? Next year's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out in Pittsburgh. You can right your wrong if Jackson Dart is wrong. Again, I say stay the hell away from Aaron Rodgers at this point. He's not where we are. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't build to get to this point with Aaron Rodgers. He's doing his own thing. He went to the Jets. He's doing that. So again, I'm if he's here, I don't hate it, but I would rather him not be here.
We could be in a lot worse situation. That's
absolutely.
Sure. But for Aaron to say that he's not stringing us along, obviously we're not behind closed doors with conversations with him and Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan and any other team that he's, talking to. It could be a situation where the Steelers just aren't pulling the trigger and Aaron's being strung along. That's possible, right? We don't know. However, his public persona has been, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to go here. I want to go there. He says nice things about this team. He says nice things about that team. That's stringing him along. I don't care what you say. If he hasn't come public with some sort of decision, whether it's to play, not to play, or to, even if he come and said, you know what, man, it's between the Steelers and the Vikings or whoever it is, he needs to be forward about that because the public, which is us, who do this all the time, talk about guys like him.
Right.
We want to know, and we need to know, and the Steelers need to know. And so do these other teams. Do you think that Baltimore is not sitting on the edge of their seat right now, wondering what the hell is going to go on with the Steelers situation? They are, because they know that if we get this guy, they have a chance to beat them. We get that guy, we have a chance to play like this or like that. all these other teams want to know what's going on with Aaron as well, because they need to prepare their teams around him in the divisions and stuff,
Absolutely.
right? There's so much that rides on it, and I just wish he would stop being a baby and just come out and just tell us his intentions and just get it over with. Once again, with the draft coming up, it's like the time is ticking. Teams have decisions to make, and they need to make them this week. They need to make them right away, and he's not helping that situation for any team. So,
and listen, your personal business is your personal business. The fact that we're even hearing about your personal business is too much. That's none of my concern.
Right.
You're gonna be able to work for the team,
right.
for the team that I support or not. Bottom line, everybody has problems. Everybody
has family issues, right?
And again, if somebody's dying of cancer, I feel terrible.
It's okay to use that as an excuse,
right,
to judge how you do your things, right?
Absolutely.
That's okay. That's totally okay. Like, we all have had situations where we've had family members or loved ones or whatever had something go on, and we had to help them take care of it. It happens. But that's not a good enough excuse to not,
I agree.
make a decision. It's not a good enough excuse.
Months have gone by now.
We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in the balance.
All right, let's get back. I'm going to go to my big screen here. It's a little bit easier to see. I'm going to go right here. Mark Malone says, I've damn near got my hair where I can tuck it behind my ears. If I start going bald, I'm set. He follows that up by
Start
saying,
the skullet early, my man.
The glorious skullet today. The dude wasn't all the way bald on top, was still clinging on the few long strands combed to the side.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Mason, I'm sorry. Tortilla Jackson says, Mason's the kind of guy to throw 2 touchdowns on your favorite team and save you 15% on your car insurance.
Great comment.
But how much would Aaron Rodgers be able to save you? Be a discount double check, right?
Well, he's no longer the discount double check guy.
Is that even a thing anymore? I don't even think discount.
I don't think so.
Double check.
Nah, that was like an ad. That was like an ad routine for like 2 years, like 10 years ago, and for some reason.
But it's synonymous with him though, because he always did the thing there.
It's
with
the
his,
thing, that like putting on the belt type move,
right?
Or whatever.
Right, the belt.
Yeah.
Jen says Finch being nice, a little off. Rodgers is off his fucking rocker.
You're right, Jen.
007 says Mason was not a crybaby like Kenny Pickett was. Tortilla says makes the comment about having your okay. It's a different one. Mason's the kind of guy who could steal your wife by give her back by before 8 o'clock. I see what you did there. He also says Aaron's just trying to get out of missing homework assignments. His mom won't let him come over until he gets caught up. I bet she's a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
So,
anybody that's a real pain in the ass, could you imagine? I mean, I always try to think what their mom is like.
Like his family, him and his family don't do anything. They have nothing to do with each other.
So that checks out even more. They're fucking nuts. Tortilla says, LOL, imagine Rudy steals Aaron's double check celebration.
That would be the greatest thing ever. If Rudy ends up getting the job and the first game of the season, he throws a bomb for a touchdown and he just runs down the field going. I would buy his jersey the next day.
You're right.
I would number 6, right? I'd be buying that.
Let me ask you this, guys. What are you doing?
2. Yeah, you're right. Number 2. You're right. I'm sorry.
Oh, Mason. Let me ask you this, guys. Who you, Finch, you, Mike? I haven't seen Mike stop eating yet. Actually, I gotta be honest.
He has been chewing the entire time.
The whole entire show. I
haven't had a chance to have a meal today.
I had one sip of coffee.
You chose this hour to have the meal.
I'm trying not to go into some sort of anaphylactic shock or some hyperglycemic thing.
To be fair, today was a good day for you to do all the eating because I have been
absolutely
talking my ass off.
No,
yes, I have really given you the opportunity. I have 3 weeks since I've been here. I have a lot to say. What can I do?
I couldn't wait, man. As soon as I seen you yesterday and you said you were coming on,
I was pretty pumped when you came in too because I was going to text you later and tell you. Yeah.
Let's move on a little bit here, guys. But I'm going to come to Mike and Finch on both you guys on this one. Let me ask you this: if you were a gambling man, and I came up to you right now and said, Finch, Mike, I'm willing to bet you a bunch of money. If you can tell me today who the Steelers' #1 draft pick is going to be next week, and money was on the line, let's say lots of money, to make it, a little bit more. Who does the Steelers take next week? Let's take trades out. Let's not worry about who gets who before us. Who do you think, Mike? Who do you think, Finch, the Steelers take 6 days from now with their #1 pick at 21? Mike, let's start with you. You're well fed at this moment. We'll come back to Finch.
I'm done grazing.
You're done grazing, Mike. What? Who do you believe? If all money was on the line, lots of money, and you had a pick, and the guy that you picked was him, and you got who would you seriously think is going to be our number 1 pick next week?
You're not going to like it. I'm going to go Derek Harmon, defensive tackle.
All right. All these names, like, they pop up and everyone's all of a sudden all about them. The guy from Michigan, all of a sudden, he's not an so 2 weeks ago it was him. He was the guy. People saying we're gonna get him, and then the pendulum came back and they said, you know what, we got to get somebody on offense. So now they're talking running backs. The guy from North Carolina. Now it's going back to him. This is who you honestly think, Mike. All bullshit aside. $1 million on the line.
Yeah.
If you don't get it right, you have to pay it. If you had it, and if you did get it right, you would get it. This is who the Steelers pick first.
That's who I'm thinking. They want. I believe they went to his pro day. They had him in for a visit. They did not go to the Michigan pro day. They sent like a coach to the Michigan pro day. Kenneth Grant did not come in for an official visit. Usually, that's a key sign of they probably not going to draft you. So that's all signs are pointing towards Derek Harmon. For me,
Finch, I'm going to come to you. Same question, man. Lots on the line. So it's not just they might take this guy. I kind of like, give me who you honestly think. At the end of the day, 6 days from now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be calling out at pick 21 in Wisconsin. Finch, who do you think?
I'm going to go with the funny answer and say that we say F everything and we draft Sanders and we get him. We put him in as quarterback. Okay. Forget Mason. Forget Aaron. Let's get Shador. Let's do it. Dion is not going to be on the sidelines anymore. Dion already has his job, secured. So Shador's draft stock has been falling for some reason the last week or so. It would not shock me if we picked that guy up.
Well, Colorado plays on Saturdays, so I think Dion's going to do what Dion's going to do.
You might be right. Fly across the country and be.
He's always been, he's never been one to just sit back and let the world happen in front of him.
Just don't let him on the sidelines. He can come to the games, put him in a box, put him in the stands. He has no business being on the sidelines. And if wherever Shador ends up, there is going to be at least one game this season where Deion Sanders is going to be standing on the sidelines. The guy has no business being there.
Especially, you figure, Finch, after November's over, they're playing December football. College football's done.
Right, college is done. Right.
So that's a whole month. And then you get one bowl game, depending on the playoffs. And Colorado, come on, I have to make a pretty big jump to have a playoff run here. So, considering that from December 1st after, Deion Sanders is readily available. But I got to give you my pick, guys. I'm gonna cut through the BS. I'm gonna say everything that was said in the past month is a bunch of malarkey. I say the Steelers are gonna take Jackson Dart with the pick at number 21.
Think he's gonna be there?
Well, I mean, come on, you took Shador Sanders. I think
but
I think Jackson Dart has more of a chance to get to 21. And again, this is all the BS aside. This isn't if he's gonna be there. This isn't that. I say Jackson Dart. That's who I'm putting my money on. If I'm a gambling man, which I'm not. But if I was, I would say Jackson Dart. Yeah. Finch would say Shador Sanders.
They do seem to have Jackson drop down a little bit on the chart since the last time I looked. So,
he's way down now.
Yeah, he's down now. They got him like number 28 now.
And if you would look at the teams, Finch, the teams ahead of us, the Browns, the Giants, all those teams, they're going to take your Cam Wards. They're going to take probably Shador Sanders.
Exactly.
They're going to take the top half of the guys. And I think Jackson Dart, he's just at the Steeler. He's just at that platform where I think that he could fall to the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to take him. I think that was the early speculation. Again, you got to talk about the draft and who you might pick for the next 2 months. Speaking of 2 months ago, 1 million people's names are going to be brought up, 1 million ideas, 1 million mock drafts. I say we're going to go back to the original idea. Jackson Dart will be our number 1 draft pick, in my opinion. So we will see, guys.
I'd be happy with it.
I would too. I would too.
Happy with it. I'd be happy with Mike's pick too. Either one. We could use either one of those guys.
At this point, you know what?
Throw a dart at a board.
Throw a Jackson Dart at the board.
Throw a Jackson Dart out there. But guys, they just there's nobody that really I love. I don't love anybody in this draft. I don't. So any of these guys, I would be fine. I know we need defensive line. I know we need a quarterback. I know we need a running back. I know we need a receiver moving forward. So I'm gonna be fine. I'll just take the time to learn about the person if I don't know about him. If it's a wide receiver from Texas, all right, it's time to learn about a wide receiver from Texas, and that's the way it goes. But at the end of the day, I want Dart. I think they're going to take Dart, but we will see. 6 days, just 6 days, guys. Unbelievable. It's already here. Mike, it's already here.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. It's it's right around the corner. This is my time of the year. I'm loving it. 6 days, 7 hours, 37 minutes, and 50 seconds till the draft.
Thursday night, right?
Yes.
I'm off Thursday night, man. We should live.
I am on.
Finch
I'm having a live stream.
Finch, Mike is actually doing a live, and I think Derpy's.
Oh, you are? I know you guys talked about it. I wasn't sure. I would get in on that, man.
Big week next week, everybody. It is going to be all draft coverage all week long. And then on Thursday, I do believe Mike, Derpy, and maybe even Finch, they might be all together doing a live stream on draft night one, because it does go all the way through Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the draft, guys. Mike, how does that play out? First round is night ones, 2 and 3,
2 and 3, 2 and 3, and then 4 through 7 on Saturday. I preferred the old format when Saturday was rounds 1, 2, and 3. That was the fun all day drinking bonanza, because it started at like noon, and would go all night long, and then you'd wake up and do the next day and do the same thing. This one,
I kind of like how they do it now, though. It's cool that the first round is fully televised and it's like a primetime event. I'm okay with
it. Do it on a Friday. I understand.
Friday would be a little better. Yeah.
I understand why they don't Friday. That's when people work's done. Let's go out and party.
Yeah, right. They're not going to.
So I understand how but I just hate how it's on the Thursday. But I do how
TV ratings, man.
TV ratings, and they make the first round a big deal now, and. Well, it already was a big deal, but more production and shit like that. So I understand why they did it. But I do like how the time, there's no longer, first round's no longer 15 minutes. I don't believe. I know they shortened the time for all the picks. So the draft does go by faster now.
Just off topic real quick. Do you remember, there was a year 20 years ago where the Vikings missed a bunch of times?
Yes.
They had 15 whole minutes and they kept missing it.
Oh, yeah.
It was twice in a row. It was, what was the coach's name? Mike, big tall guy, died a couple years ago.
I can't remember, but yeah.
Mike Tice.
Tice.
Yeah.
He was the coach. And that was I remember watching that thinking, how fucking.
But then it happened to them. I think the next year. Then it happened to another team as well.
The Browns.
I think it happened to the Browns. Yeah.
Yeah, because a team can run in front of you and get their pick in, and you're missing your guy. You're missing your guy.
Guys, let's hop back on the board. Let's see. We're gonna go back to P. P says beast mode. Still with A-Rod.
Rocking with.
Or with Aaron.
Aaron.
Also.
Done messed up. Aaron.
Let's see. Walter Nolan. Jen, we know that she does like Walter Nolan. We've heard that several times from her. Mark Malone says he's with Mike. Hey, look at that. This is a good Friday, bringing them all together. Here we go.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Mark said if I had to lay money down, and then he goes on to say Tomlin would unleash hell on him. Tortilla comes out and says we know how Mike Tomlin likes his brothers playing on the same team. If we do draft Sador, I think we should also pick Shiloh up too. And that's it. I've never thought of that. That's a very good. That's a very good point.
Shiloh is a stupid name.
Also, P says Shiloh in the 7th round, maybe. Tortilla says I'm going to go with a wild guess and say Hampton. I think that was his pick. I would be pissed if we used anything more than a 7th. Jen says great. Saying to Mark, great to Mark going to the defensive side. Oh yeah, see, and then. Where did it say? Where did Mark say? Mark says, "Yeah, they finally beat me down, Jen." So Mark is finally he's on the defensive side, Mike. I can't believe it.
He came over to the dark side.
I can't believe I'm seeing this. This is the most magical Good Friday ever.
Mm-hmm.
Second most magical. There was another one that was way more magical, but that was 2,000 years ago.
Oh well, all right.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason you were going to say that Steak and
keeps
BJ
coming back to the
Steak
Easter
and BJ
thing,
Day was a Friday, but I guess.
Oh no. Well, I mean that was magical day too. At least for me it was. But
Tortilla says Shiloh is a dog's name, and then Jen says I heard that it's going to be a bust with people. A coworker has friends that upgraded their home to rent it out for the draft and can't rent it. They are 2 blocks from Lambeau Field. Mike, you are doing that. As a matter of fact, there's several people from the board that are expected to show up at Mike's house to.
Yeah, I got the lighting. The lighting wasn't for the show; it's for when everyone comes over. Got some mood lighting for the boys.
There you go.
Jim Palmer is going to go right behind me.
that's the gayest thing you ever said.
Oh, I can say gayer.
You want Jim Palmer to be right behind you with good
Yeah,
lighting?
right. That's what
like we can make this as gay as you want. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, we didn't want to gay in the first place when you said Jim Palmer was right behind you, but
Yo, it went off the rails real fast. Let's,
Guys, let's move forward. So we do know this in a 40-minute interview yesterday on the PMS. Aaron Rodgers did show up. A lot of people speculated. They said, you know what? He's probably going to come on and say he's signing with the Steelers. That wasn't the case. He come on and did say that he's going to take a little longer. He says, he tells, listen, Art Rooney says, we're going to give him a little bit longer. He says, we're not freaking out just yet, basically. So he comes here, Aaron Rodgers, everything goes good. He snuck in for a visit. He went and had a throwing session with DK Metcalf. So, maybe that's just where it is, guys. Maybe everyone's looking way too far into it. Because everybody seems like everything is still okay. Aaron's saying good things about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's saying good things about Aaron. Pittsburgh's coming out saying, you know what, it's still okay. We're not going to, we'll give him a little bit longer. Aaron's coming out saying, you know what, I got personal business. I'm not stringing anybody along. So maybe this was just the media taking this way out of proportion, way out of hand, and turning it into something that's not. But at the end of the day, he did get on PMS yesterday. And he made that comment. He says he'll play for $10 million 1 year in Pittsburgh or anywhere else, or he has no problems hanging up his cleats. He also says Artie Smith's a good dude, end quote. He says he says it was incorrect what Ben had said, speculating that he put an offer to Minnesota and was waiting to hear from them before he gave Pittsburgh his decision. He says that was untrue. So, I mean, there's a couple things right off the top that were talking points, during this whole Aaron Rodgers saga over the past month, that he came in, and he said, well, that's not true. 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 But at the end of the day, we got to get an answer. Draft is 6 days from now. This is a very important decision for the Steelers. And even if the Steelers know something and he's saying, okay, give me a little bit longer, this is still, you got to figure out what you're doing. You have to figure out your first 10 moves in a 7-round draft. You have to come up with your moves. If your move is gone, you have to come up with a move. If that move is gone, if that move is gone, and if that move is gone, you have to. I mean, the draft is a very complex thing. So again, I think that it goes both ways. I think that if Pittsburgh doesn't know what he's doing, they should know, and he should have the decency to give him that. But on the other hand, as well, I could see a bunch of things that was addressed yesterday that has been being said about him for the prior month that wasn't true. So do we know any more, Finch? Do we know any more, Mike, than we did the very first day that he got cut by the Jets? You know what I mean? Do we know any more?
It confirmed some speculation like that I said and others have said, like there's probably constant communication between teams that he's been talking to, and he confirmed that, at least for Pittsburgh, like I'm in communication with them, letting them know what's going on. That's really all we got out of it, is that he's been in communication, keeping at least the Steelers abreast of what's going on, and that he's told teams, do what you need to do. Don't hold out and wait for me. Do what you think you need to do. So that's confirmed some things there, that teams are communicating with him about what's going on, and that teams are actively planning for every contingency of, hey, we got him, or hey, we didn't. This is what we're going to do with him. This is what we're going to do without him.
He also, another thing he says, Mike, in the conversation yesterday on PMS, he goes on to say he's open to anything and he's attached to nothing. So at the end of the, go ahead.
So the ayahuasca opened up his mind, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's very zen of him. Like I just take what it gives.
If we were all on ayahuasca and we were all stripping balls, that would be a totally acceptable answer. And all the stuff that he pulls. But again, this is a multi-billion-dollar company with 32 franchises that are billion-dollar franchises, if not almost. You got to comply at some point. I mean, you are part of the bigger game here. It's not all about Aaron Rodgers. And if you let it be, he will run with that ball and make it all about himself, in my opinion. So let's see what goes on, guys. 6 days. Hopefully this time next week, we know what's going on. We're going to know something. There's no two ways about it. We're going to know if we have a rookie quarterback. We're going to know if we have Aaron Rodgers. We're going to know if we whatever happens, we will know in the next week. Hopefully, right, guys? Hopefully. Jen's on the board saying that he's batshit crazy. I'm assuming she's talking about Aaron Rodgers and not Finch. Also, Tortilla says Aaron's just waiting for Happy Gilmore 2 to come out, and then he'll sign. Tortilla also says he played without QB coach in 2006, I believe he said as well. I think the dude is waiting for news of some type before he decides to play or not. That's Mark Malone. So it's still all kind of speculation, guys. Do we know anything truly more than we did a month ago or whenever that was that Aaron Rodgers was released by the Jets and was speculated that he could be coming here? I don't know if we know any more than we did then. So please get here, draft. Please answer these questions for us. We're all just dying to know what's going to happen for our Steelers. A couple of things here, guys. Let's move along a little bit. Just 6 days to the NFL draft. A couple of things in the NFL notes, guys. NFL is considering a game in the Middle East. A game in the Middle East. That is one area that I didn't expect to see that we would be trying to extend our marketing to the Middle East. But there you go, guys. It is being talked about maybe trying to get a game in the Middle East.
I heard Dubai.
Okay.
Was a possibility.
Many other major sporting events have been taking place over there over the last few years. The World Cup was out there in Qatar a couple of years ago. That was a massive deal. WWE and UFC have both had a lot of events going on in that area. I believe in Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia actually paid a lot of money to, I believe it was WWE, to have a couple specific events there. And they did this whole thing where they had this, like, I guess MBS, the guy who runs the Sauds, I guess he is a huge WWE fan and actually not created a script for the shows at his place, but he had a lot to do with what happened. And they consider it non-canon stuff. Like, there's a lot of money in that area of the world and a lot of sports fans who want to see sports and sports that aren't exactly their sports. Obviously I want to see soccer because soccer's massive everywhere. But it is kind of cool to see these people getting into the NFL. And, it's kind of cool that we're playing games in places other than England.
And you know what, though? One thing that they do got to get squared away, though, you have to get certain things straight when you go to the Middle East. Because blowing a play up in the backfield has a totally different meaning than it does here. So, I mean, obviously they have to
throwing the bomb.
Throwing the bomb. Yeah, the bomb.
Dropping bombs all over.
And they and a lot of people
they have to change the name of a Hail Mary to Allahu Akbar.
Exactly.
He drops back. He throws the Allahu Akbar. 75 meter throw.
Yeah, are they going to convert it to
exactly.
meters? Now I'm going to be confused.
That is it.
I'd be okay with all the other.
The field is 97.3 meters long, everybody.
Right.
Like this American sport, I want it in good old freedom units.
Mark Malone, I hope like hell we draft Howard or Show no matter what happens. He says, hell yeah, dude, have a jihad of a game out there. And then he follows that up by saying, instead of throwing flags, the ref could throw Molotov cocktail. It could, you know what? The jokes are actually endless.
They write themselves.
They write themselves. If this happens, guys, we'll have plenty of material for years to come.
A lot of low-hanging fruit available for the picking.
Definitely. And finally, guys, we're on the NFL. Rob Gronkowski, of course, the tight end of the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, was in town last week to help open a gym in Woodland Hills High School, which is where he did play part of his senior year. When he was in high school, he played at Woodland Hills in Pittsburgh. He came to back to town. But you know what? There's already other gyms. His brothers and his dad, they own gyms also around the area, but he came back to open the gym for the Woodland Hills High School. So it was really cool to see him down here and being supportive. And again, it's wild, man. The Rob Gronkowski was smashing heads with guys in our Whippeal right here in Western Pennsylvania. And so that was cool. That was cool.
The gym is sweet. I saw it on, I think it was on TikTok. And it was like, holy shit, for a high school gym?
Yeah.
Like it might be better than apparently it's better than the Steelers gym, according to the to the grading report card.
I always liked him. People thought he was a dummy, and of course he played for New England. But at the end of the day, I like freakish people.
I watched some of the podcasts that he and Julian Edelman have done together, and those two are hilarious.
Yes, they are.
And do talk in depth about football too, and you get a lot of that like behind the scenes. Like they talk a lot about Brady and about Belichick and stuff, and in NFL in general, but also when they have discussions about their childhood. And I saw one where Gronk talked about being playing at Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
Those guys are great. I highly recommend checking out any media that Gronk does, because the guy he's got that sort of Pat McAfee thing where he's just naturally funny and naturally talkative, and he's just a likable guy. He's great. Gronk is going to have his own TV show.
I've always liked the freaking nature athletes, and he always kind of fell in that category.
He definitely is. Yeah, he is the poster boy of the last 20 years when it comes to freak of nature in the NFL. I mean, really, he is. He is an absolute, just a completely different human being when it comes to the game of football, and he's good. He's a Hall of Famer because of it. He was great.
Yeah. I heard him described
but he was great
as a human golden retriever, and like that fits him perfectly.
That's a wonderful description. That is a great description. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's awesome. Fantastic.
I remember that one play where there was a guy laying on the ground and he just body slammed right on top of him. Like, you remember it was down the sideline. The guy was literally on the ground on his belly. The guy, and Gronk turned around for whatever reason, just kind of elbowed him.
Yeah, he just drops a big
on him.
I remember when we
elbow.
put poor Sean Davis on him one-on-one coverage, and Sean Davis is running hit for hit with him, jumps up and to try and intercept a pass, and all Gronk had to do was like reach and grab it. It was like
such a freak. I loved it. I loved it.
He was a
effortless. He made things look effortless.
In a league where you have to be so athletic, the strongest guys, the fastest guys, everything, and he makes it look so effortless in a league with that kind of competition.
Against the best and strongest.
That's what I'm saying.
He was doing that against the greatest defenses of the era and just making them look silly. He was a freak. And he was in the perfect situation with Brady and Edelman and Belichick and all that. He's one of those guys. He really benefited from that situation, but they benefited from him as well because he took them to Super Bowls.
Absolutely.
He was great.
Absolutely.
Gronk was amazing.
Let me get a couple of these messages in on the board. I'm on the big board so I can see. All right, here we go. P says FIFA sweating have the World Cup in the United States.
I have seen some things about this.
Travel issues.
Completely a thing. Could happen.
If teams want to boycott, we're going to win the World Cup, boys.
That's right.
USA.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Also, Tortilla says should get Muth to check out the gym. Tortilla says tell Najee we got new equipment room. Maybe he'll come back. We let him know about Woodland Hills. Maybe he'll come back.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. We do got to move it along, though. Anything else about the draft, guys, before we do move along? Finch,
I got nothing.
Mike,
I'm drafted.
Looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
I know. On one hand, I'm excited, but on the other hand, I'm kind of drafted out as two. I want to get our guys. Let's get the draft out of the way and start thinking about summer and getting camp started and all that stuff. So, guys, let's move on. The Penguins did wrap it up last night. They do miss the playoffs for a third straight season, finishing with a 34-36-12 record. They do beat the Capitals 5-2. Crosby scores a goal and has an assist. Russ scores 2 goals in the game. Pittsburgh Pirates, again, this was just a beat on Washington team's week. The Pirates, they beat the Nationals 1-0 on a first inning leadoff home run by O'Neal Cruz. They win 1-0. First batter hits a home run, nothing the entire rest of the game. Pirates do go on to win 1-0. They're 8-12 overall. They win the series 3-1. Both teams had 5 hits in the matchup yesterday. Cruz had the leadoff homer, and then these 4 Pirates also had a hit. It was IKF, Frazier, Bart back in action had a hit, and Valdez as well. Haney on the mound, he pitched 7 1/3, gave up 5 hits, no earned run, guys, 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. The game had 12,748 people in attendance, which matches it's the most since opening night against the Yankees. Of course, every game has been right around 8,000 people because the people are a little angry with management for the Pirates. But last night the game did manage to get over almost 13,000 people. So maybe that's a good sign for the team. But on the other hand, I think that the fans have to stay proactive with this ownership. Otherwise, they're just going to keep shitting on you. You deserve a lot more.
Amazing pitching staff. We have a pitching staff right now that could win the World Series with any other team. And they're not going to do it here because we can't get anybody to hit the freaking ball.
And if you stay on top of this team, that's the only way they're going to make moves. We've been saying for years, people should stand up and walk out of these games, and no one does it.
Finally happening.
Guess what? They didn't do anything to change, to make things better. People are finally being proactive. They're finally not going to games. I don't want it to happen, but I want management to at least try with this team. Again, they can't keep robbing you, the fan, every year in, year out. You have that right. Stand up for yourself and give them the money. That's the language they understand.
Attendance is the biggest moneymaker for the Pirates.
Absolutely.
They don't make the cable TV money and shit that the Yankees and the Red Sox make. Attendance is their number one dollar. They don't make the merchandising that those teams make. If we hit them with attendance, that's where we get them in the pocket.
Absolutely.
Also, fuck Seven Springs.
And also coming up next, the Pirates have a 3-game series starting tonight with Derby's Cleveland Guardians. Game 1 is 4:05 today. It is game 1 of 3. They will be playing Cleveland all through the weekend. I kind of wish Derby was here. We could have talked a little bit of shit on his Cleveland Guardians. That series, again, that starts tonight. It's going to be 78 degrees here in Pittsburgh for game time. First pitch against the Guardians tonight. So if you're going down to the stadium, it's going to be a nice weather
for football or baseball.
You get into them later hours, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and it starts to cool down, but it's still warm.
Yeah.
Perfect for baseball. Guys, also, if you're not in the mood for baseball today, you could always watch some football. That's right. The UFL is back in action tonight as Memphis travels to Michigan. That game is 8:00 tonight. The action continues tomorrow as St. Louis travels to Arlington at 12:30, and Birmingham travels to Houston at 7 tomorrow. Sunday, Mike, San Antonio travels to D.C. to take on your Defenders. That game is at 5:00 p.m. on Sunday. So again, Mike and I were talking about this at UFL the other day. It's not like it was when it first started, where it was a lot to be desired. You kind of had guys that were stumbling, fumbling, bumbling around. It's taking a more professional feel now. The guys are playing better. It's good football. I recommend it. It's not the NFL. I mean, you're not going to see, Diggs making a huge. It's not that, but you're going to see good football if you like. Starting tonight, that first game, again, I said, as at 8:00, goes all through the weekend. One other thing about the Pirates before I do move on, guys, Clint Hurdle, the Pirates manager, the last Pirates manager to take the Pirates to the playoffs 3 years in a row, about 10 years ago or so. Mike and Finch, he did get named as the Rockies hitting coach. He, of course, coached the Rockies to the World Series.
To the World Series, yeah.
That's right. They won 21 out of 23. 21 out of 23 to finish that season to make the playoffs. They ended up going to the World Series and losing. So he is rejoining the Rockies. That's Clint Hurdle. I love Clint Hurdle.
Good for him. I always like that guy. He is abso-bucking-lutely awesome.
Abso-bucking-lutely. And that guy could eat some gum, right? Him and who's the guy from the...
Oh, Danny Smith. Yeah, they're gum too. Yeah. Bubblicious loves those guys.
I would love to, yes.
They are double mint.
So
double the pleasure, double your fun.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just never a big Clint Hurdle fan. He would do the same thing that what's his face does now when it becomes.
Except he won. That's the difference. He
won. No, he put lineups out there in the wild card games. He put that second baseman out there that couldn't hit, couldn't field, because he liked him. It was Sanchez.
Sean Rodriguez.
Sean Rodriguez was a bum. He was a bum.
Yeah.
You sit Aramis Ramirez out there, your best power hitter. He made stupid decisions, and I was glad he was let go, but then we followed up with someone even worse.
See, I liked Hurdle, and the one thing that I like about Hurdle is Finch nailed it with one word: we won. No other coach brought 3 playoff appearances in a row. Certainly in the last 33 years.
Not since Jim Leland, yeah.
Not since Jim Leland. So for that reason alone, I do like Clint Hurdle. He's the only guy that can make the Pittsburgh Pirates win.
He gave good interviews. He did a lot of things that Mike Tomlin does. Like he would speak to the not in the same way that Tomlin speaks, but he was open with the media. He was entertaining to watch. He said good things. And he won games. He was a likable coach, and you could see why he did well in Colorado. And I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad he's working. The man deserves to be in baseball. He's a good guy for Major Leagues.
I'm a Lloyd McClendon fan. I'm stealing first base, and I'm
he sucks.
He was the worst coach.
He was the worst. Stealing first base is one of the greatest moments in history. It's so good.
Well, those teams fucking sucked.
They were bad.
Too. And he was like, "Fuck it, I'm stealing first base. I'm
and
going
we had
home."
good players on those teams too. I mean, we had like Jason Bay and Kendall. Like these were decent players, and the organization sucked. And Lloyd McClendon just wasn't John Russell too. Those guys just were not major league coaches. They just
What was
were.
that other guy? Tracy, something Tracy. Yeah. There was a load of them.
Jim Tracy.
Jim Tracy.
Yeah, Jim Tracy. I
Yeah,
mean,
completely forgot about him. He had 2 or 3 seasons.
They
there.
were all these bad coaches were like the villains on Dick Tracy.
He was the coach right before Hurdle, right? I think it was John Russell and then Tracy and then Hurdle, and then suddenly we're good, and then Hurdle leaves and we suck.
That is the way that it went.
Oh no, we suck again.
The Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Now here's the scoop, Mike. I found that I was a little confused by their schedule. So tomorrow, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds they do play at Loudoun. Okay, that game starts at 4:30 and it will be on KDK Plus. But the game against the New York soccer team, the game that's in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup tournament, that's actually on the 7th. So that they got an extra week off before that game comes. So that big tournament that they are in, and they won the last game they played. Their next game will be on the 7th. So still got a little bit of ways to go. They really stretched that tournament out. And I'm remembering that now about that one that they won. It's real like they'll win a game, and then like a week and a half later they play another game, and then it was like 3 weeks later there was another game. Like
because it's built in during the season. You have your regular season games. Then this team won. We got to figure out a schedule. Okay, now we got to figure out to move your regular club league game so we can put this tournament game in there. Yeah, with those type of tournaments, it's just you keep go. They just have to keep rearranging schedules. It's weird.
So that is that, guys. The Hounds back at it though tomorrow at 4:30. They are on the road at Loudoun. And then they do on the 7th pick back up in the tournament. A week from tomorrow, guys, the Pittsburgh Passions start. The gals here in Pittsburgh, the football team, they're back in action next Saturday, kicking off in Tampa Bay against the Inferno. They played them last year in the first game, got a nice win early. Got a surprise next week too as far as the Passions. So stay tuned, guys. I think you're going to like this as well. But guys, so much stuff going on this weekend. We have Easter, we have 420, we have WrestleMania, football, we have UFL football. Mike, and what's the plan for this weekend, man? Anything fun?
No, I was gonna have sports going on in the background, and all day long, all weekend long. That's God.
Yep.
No. Yeah, I'm just, I'm burnt out waiting for the draft, but it would be nice to have, like you said, have the UFL in the background, have some baseball in the background.
Absolutely. What about you, Finch? You got the little one now. You guys do anything fun for you? So you can hide eggs around the yard.
Big
or the
deal.
house,
Yeah,
right?
It's a big weekend for us. I work all day tomorrow, Saturday.
Okay.
I work all day, but my daughter, she's 9, so she's at that really fun age for these holidays. So we will spend the morning of Easter at my parents', and we'll hide some Easter eggs in the yard. They got a big yard, and then we will spend the afternoon at the in-laws. So we have a big, long, full day of fun and food, especially the food. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And, family and all the good stuff that's involved with Easter and such. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Good, man. I'm glad to hear everybody's doing well. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumbyensers.com. Check it out, everyone. We got all of our social media links over there. Got the merch store, which is flying off the shelves, and the blog over there. Check out. I know Monday, Tuesday, I'll have one for the draft, and then Thursday, I'll have my final one that I will predict every pick correctly for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Check all that out at the2dumbyensers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyensers.com. That's www.the2dumbyensers.com. All right, guys, we're going to get into the trivia question of the day. This is also a draft question. I tried to keep it along the lines with draft questions and Steeler draft questions throughout the past couple of weeks leading up to. This, guys, is no difference. Today is a Steelers draft trivia question. Mike and Finch, put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here we go. Here's the question of the day. Since the year 2000, have the Steelers drafted more offense or more defensive players in the first round of the draft with their first pick? Since 2000, have the Steelers drafted more offensive players or more defensive players with their first pick in the draft. Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day right here on YouTube. Let me get a couple of these messages out here real quick while you guys are thinking that over. P says we'd have to start late as F for qualification matches. Then goes on to say, or just have most of the matches in Canada or Mexico. And NYCFC is okay. Yes, proper MLS, a sister team to the Manchester United or Man City in the Premier League. 007 saying more defense for the pick. Also, Tortilla saying more offense, more offensive players picked. Again, the question of the day is since 2000, have the Steelers drafted more offensive players or more defensive players? Jen says, got my Two Dumb Yinzers sweatshirt and it's super comfy. I highly recommend it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. Sure, it looks amazing. Now, there's been 25 drafts so far since 2000. This will be the 26th draft coming because of the year 2000. So, guys, keep in mind, there's been 25 drafts. And did 2020, did that change anything? So you want to put these things into consideration, guys. Again, the question of the day, since 2000, have the Steelers drafted more offensive or defensive players with their first pick overall? There's been 25 drafts. Quite possibly 2020 was affected. Now, who? Was it more offense or more defensive players that were drafted? P says defense. Tortilla says offense. 007 says more defense. Jen says she's going to put a picture of it on Discord. I can't wait to check it out.
Heck yeah.
Tortilla says we traded one pick for Minka. That doesn't count. So a lot of things to put into consideration, guys. A lot of things to put into consideration. All right. I'm going to come to Finch first. Looking for a number. No, I'm not looking for a number. I'm looking for if the number is higher by defensive players or for offensive players drafted first by the Steelers since 2000.
I'm writing down a bunch of names.
Yes.
And I can think of a lot of defensive player names, but I'm having trouble thinking of offensive player names. There's a few. Obvious ones like Ben, Santonio Holmes, But I think the defense, I think we might have had one or two more defensive picks over that time. I feel like we've got a lot of defensive guys over the last 25 years.
All right, so Finch, you're going with the defensive guys.
With the D, yeah.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, it is.
All right, so Finch, I'm locking him into place for defense. Mike, I'm going to come to you. Same question. Since the year 2000, have the Steelers drafted more offensive or defensive players with their first pick in the draft?
Defense.
Defense. Is that your final answer as well?
Final answer, baby.
All right, I'm locking you in. Both you guys say they drafted more players on the defensive side of the ball. Let me give you a little bit of a run of the players. Starting in 2000, Plexico Burris, then Casey Hampton, then Kendall Simmons, Troy Polamalu, Ben, Heath, Santonio, Lawrence Timmons, Mendenhall, Evander Hood. There was a pick for you, Evander Hood. Ziggy Hood.
Ziggy, I have him actually written down here. Ziggy Hood, I remembered that one.
Marquise Pouncey, Cam Hayward, David DeCastro, Jarvis Jones, Ryan Shazier, Bud Dupree, Artie Burns, TJ Watt, Terrell Edmonds, Devin Bush, no pick in 2020, Najee, Pickett, Broderick Jones, and Troy Fatanu. The four that rounded out were all on offense, which makes, guys, the count a tie.
Trick question.
12 guys. It was a trick question. 12 guys drafted on offense, 12 guys drafted on defense. In 2020, no pick. That's your 25 drafts since the year 2000. Who would have thought, right? I would have assumed it was the defense.
Yeah.
I think most people would. But 12 and 12.
Ziggy Hood.
Ziggy.
Yep. Actually, I had that one written down. Yep. Dupree, yeah. Shazier, Lamar Woodley. Yeah, that's good players, man.
A lot of good players.
Sure wish Shazier was still around.
Head up.
007 has a lot of the picks up here. You got Ziggy Hood on there. You got Bush. You got a nice list of the guys.
Yeah.
But that's the answer, fellas. A tie. I wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have.
I thought it was more defense, but yeah, damn.
You know what? It's that those last 4 picks all being offense.
Yeah,
that really rounded it out because they were well ahead at the 2020 season. You know, they were 4 defensive picks, were 4 picks ahead. So those last 4 picks really brought it all together for the offense, Mike. That'd be the answer. Kind of blown away, to be honest.
Me too.
I would have picked defense as well. No two ways about it. Dude, check out Finch. Everything cool tonight, man? Everything on schedule?
Yeah, we'll be on tonight. I was talking to Tim yesterday when he came in, and we are going to be hanging out tonight. I don't know if Ryan's going to be with us. He had a death in the family over the weekend, so he might not be around. But Tim and I for sure.
So do check that out tonight, guys. The Two Cranky Jagoffs that starts at 9:30. Approximately. The guys always have a lot of fun things to talk about. I enjoyed the show thoroughly. I haven't missed a minute yet. The one week that I didn't get to see live, I made sure that I did catch up, guys. I can't wait to see what Finch and Tim talk about tonight. Maybe the Steelers, maybe the Hog. Who knows what's going to be talked about?
The Hog.
Last week, Derpy and I had a great conversation about torpedo bats. So anybody that missed that, who has any interest in baseball and equipment and stuff, we had a nice conversation. We read a long article. We saw some pictures. It was a good time. And I have a couple of stories queued up for Tim and I to chat about tonight. You know, we try to keep it sports focused at the start, and then it always goes off the rails. But, you know, that's what's fun about it. You know, it's a little bit lighter take on sports as opposed to the Yinzers here, where we take it a little more seriously here. But, you know, we have a good time. It's a great show. And I hope that anybody that's watching now can be here tonight.
And also, guys, big, huge week coming up next week. This is draft week coming up. So we hope you join us bright, early Monday and often, because Monday through Friday, it's all draft. Well, we're going to be getting prepared leading up to, of course, Mike, Derpy, and possibly Finch. They might be doing the live all together on Thursday night. And then Friday, we'll certainly be following up day 1 of the draft and still going over and talking about the things that are going to be the draft's continuance on Friday and Saturday. So a lot of draft next week, NFL draft. Tune in. Also, I do have a surprise coming next week as well. Maybe I'll report that. I'll release that a little bit later on the weekend on the social media pages. But we have a nice surprise next week. I think that you're going to like. But again, guys, this is Easter weekend. You got WrestleMania. Finch, you don't watch wrestling like that anymore, do you?
Not anymore, no. You know, years ago I was into it. The last 10 years or so, I kind of got out of wrestling. However, I did watch WrestleMania last year, and that was a pretty cool event. And it is fun to watch an event once in a while with wrestling because it's so over the top.
Right.
That it's one of those things that if you don't follow it anymore, you could still be pretty well entertained by watching 1 or 2, you know, Monday Night Raws or something like WrestleMania, which is the big highlight event of the year. If you're a fan at all of wrestling or a former fan of wrestling, it's always good to watch WrestleMania.
I was doing that for a while, Finch. It was like I wasn't into it anymore. I mean, when you get older, you got a job, you got family. What it is?
I work with teenagers, and teenagers are into WWE, boys and girls, and they talk about it all the time at work, and it gets me interested because I was really into wrestling in the 90s and early 2000s, and it's nice to listen to him talk about it. And once in a while, something comes up on TikTok that happened in the WWE, and you're like, oh, that's a good angle. I like that or whatever. So I will not be checking it out per se, but I might check it out in passing, after it's over. So yeah, WrestleMania, good time.
Like I said, I where I was going with that was I just got to the point in my life where I was only watching WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it would be my son, whether it be whatever the situation was, like
it's like people that only watch the Super Bowl,
right? And that's what it was with wrestling. Because again, you're older, you got a family, you got a job.
Super Bowl of wrestling, it really is.
And I to be honest, I don't have my attention span to have 15 different interests. You know what I mean? If I like 1 or 2 things, I'm not going to invest a lot of time into this or that or wrestling, which I like. Don't get me wrong.
It's fun.
But at the end of the day, there's only so many hours in a day. But WrestleMania, the big WrestleMania this weekend, guys, that starts tomorrow. Tomorrow, Mike, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. So, guys, there is a lot of things going on. It is the holiday. You got Easter. You got WrestleMania. You got the Buccos with they're hosting the Guardians all weekend in town. Get down to PNC Park. It's going to be beautiful weather again. 78 degrees today. It's amazing. Tonight, most important, do go check out Finch and Tim over at the Two Cranky Jagoffs right here on the network on YouTube.
One thing real quick about Tim. He told me yesterday the Astros are coming to Pittsburgh in the first week of June. It's like a middle of the week series, and I think he and I are going to go. And we talked about filming some stuff while we're there and bullshitting in the stands and just, on our phones and releasing that as a video. So keep that in mind. And once we get that nailed down, if we do decide to go, I'll let everybody know. If anybody wants to join us at the game, and maybe go see the Astros whoop on the Pirates, it'd be a good time to get a bunch of us together. So just something to keep in mind, guys.
Definitely would be a blast.
Be a good time.
Remind me. I mean, I'm in. If everybody wants to go down, I'm down for going.
Yeah, it's like the first week of June. I got to look up the dates. Yeah,
I'm in, man. Also, the football again as well, fellas. UFL starts tonight at 8:00, and does all 4 games go through the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hounds back at it today. That game is on KDK Plus. Guys, so there is a lot of stuff. I hope that everybody has a great weekend. It's the holiday. It's Easter. Spending time with people, opening baskets, finding eggs, all that kind of fun stuff.
Eggs.
Chocolate.
So, I do want to say thank you, everybody. We appreciate you greatly for coming and hanging out and checking us out this week, all week long. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. We want to thank everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. Everybody at home, whether you be at work, whether you be at the gym, whether you be in your kitchen, listening to the show, we thank you as well. Finch, my man, we always love having you on the show. I'm super excited about the show tonight. I cannot wait. Again, 9:30. That's the Two Cranky Jagoffs right here. Finch, it's always super seeing you, my man. We thank you so much. Do you have anything before you're ready to take off?
I wish my work schedule was different and I could be here every day.
Hey, you never know what the future might hold.
What it is.
Mike, what about you, man? Got the holiday, all these fun things going on in sports. Anything before we wrap it up?
Yeah. Everyone, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for tuning in. I can't next week. It's the nitty-gritty grind until
This
the
is what we've been waiting for, man.
I can't wait.
So we've been
I'm on
waiting for.
vacation next week. I got no work.
Nice.
Look at that.
It's gonna be a fun week for Mike.
Absolutely.
Fun week for all.
Lots of drugs and alcohol.
Well, don't
a real role model you are.
Yes, I am. I'm a life coach. Look at my life. Do the complete opposite.
And we do thank you so much, everybody. We do thank you. Again, have a safe holiday. Hope everybody has a great Easter. Enjoy your 420. I know I will. And we'll be back first thing Monday. Again, a huge week coming up. This is the draft week, all week long. So do join us then. We hope to see everybody back Monday morning. For Finch, for Mike in the Autistic Central mobile studio, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers, have a great holiday, everybody. Stay safe. Hope to see everybody back on Monday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
My ego is big enough for the 3 of us.
Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. 2 wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jagoff at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. 2 dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these 2 might spew. 2 dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on anti slice. Tales from the Berg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud.